Welcome to MLB The Show, where baseball, video games, and entertainment collide. I'm your host, Nico, and this episode is all about rookies. Headlining this episode is the rookie himself. In just a moment, actor Dennis Quaid joins the show to reminisce about the 2002 film that immortalized the underdog story of former Devil Rays pitcher Jim Morris. Later on, we'll get you those highlights you crave from our MLB The Show simulations and also pay tribute to the best rookie seasons from some of our favorite baseball video game franchises. But now, let's go to Chris Longo, who sat down with Dennis Quaid to talk about shooting the pitching scenes from the hit film The Rookie, the actor's baseball playing days, and his new podcast, The Dennisance from Audio Up.
Dennis, we're so glad to have you on MLB The Show. Throughout your film career, you've had several baseball-related roles. What was your relationship to the game like when you were growing up?
I grew up in Texas, and that's a rite of passage, going out for the football team or the baseball team. And I was in Bel Air, which is part of Houston, Texas. That's where I grew up, Bel Air Little League. And they actually were champions in the year 2000 while I was there. But baseball was a huge part of my life. And, the Astrodome was also the first indoor games where I grew up. And, it gives you a real feeling of a purpose when you're 9, 10, 11 years old, 12, in Little League. And to have your friends and family there. And, but geez, man, it's too bad about the season.
We start winning, you try out again. Last time I checked, scouts aren't looking for high school science teachers.
Well, not many science teachers throw like you.
Yeah.
Jimmy Morris, who is the rookie from the movie The Rookie, he and I have been great friends ever since then. He was an amazing human being. He was on the set every day. I was left-handed, thank God, but I hadn't thrown a pitch since Little League, really. And I was lucky enough that I had 6 months to prepare. And so every other day I'd be pitching, and then once a week, because you're an actor and you get to go behind all those authorized personnel-only doors, I got to go out to Dodger Stadium in an empty stadium and pitch on that mound once a week to prepare for it. I mean, think about Sandy Koufax and Don Drysdale and Valenzuela and all the people that had been on that mound.
So you got your practice in at Dodger Stadium, but I'm sure it was a much different animal when the camera started rolling. So we're going to show some clips right now of you pitching from the movie. Can you break down for us what it was like filming those scenes?
The moment that everybody asked me about was when there was that speed trap sign that gave your speed on the highway. Then I got out of the truck and just to try my speed to see what it was. And, it's the 7 turns into a 9. And I didn't know. Thought I didn't have it. Well, I myself, I did not put myself on a radar gun ever on purpose. I didn't want to know because all I wanted to do was look like I could throw 100 miles an hour. You know what I mean? It was really great to play the coach with those kids. And, we really turned into a team who cared for each other. And Jimmy Morris being on the set was a really big deal because of the inspiration that he brought. But the biggest moment was in Texas Stadium and in a packed house, and running from the center field, where they were warming up pitching, and from the bullpen, and that run to the pitcher's mound was really one of the most incredible moments of my life.
What was going through your head as you were on the mound at Ranger Stadium about to pitch in front of all these fans?
To hear that roar of the crowd, even though we're doing a movie, it's you can feel everyone in the stadium, and it gives you a certain type of energy yourself.
How has your relationship to baseball changed since doing the movie?
Gene Autry was he's my cousin, He owned the Angels and quite a few Angel games over the years since the rookie. And Albert Pujols, he has a camp. There's an entire town that he's helping out the disadvantaged kids there, and built baseball fields for them. And I'm working with him now, go down and help keep these going.
So you got to portray a real baseball player on the big screen. Who's your favorite fictional baseball player?
Robert Redford did such a great job. I love that whole story. Great. I love Bull Durham.
He scrambled the son of a bitch. Look at that. He hit the fucking bull. Guy gets a free steak.
And Kevin's, I think he did 2 or 3 baseball movies.
You did 3 of them.
He had quite a career. In fact, when we were doing Wyatt Earp, there would be baseball games at lunch. With the crew that, they were quite a team actually. And they got out there and played hardball. Just out there in the desert, just made up everybody walked it off and put down bases and everything. It was something else.
So your latest project is the Dennisance, a podcast from Audio Up, which is a new podcast content studio, which you're a partner on. Can you tell us a little bit more about the project?
It's called the Dennisance. Be some very interesting conversations with the most interesting people in the world. And you'll find out things about people you think you know and what's behind that. I talk to people that I have known in my life, which I've had a very lucky life, and politicians, newsmakers, actors. I spent so much time with people like Chuck Yeager or Jimmy Morris. I'm going to be interviewing him and find out really who they are behind what we know that they are. I want to interview people that don't necessarily have something to sell at that particular time. Find out their spiritual journey. Find out where they are now, and find out some retrospect.
Dennis, thank you so much for joining us to talk some baseball, and we're excited that the Dennisance is going to start right here on MLB The Show.
All right, Chris, you just be safe there, and a big shout out to all of the medical workers and first responders are up there, because they're our bravest right now, and go to work every day, and thank God for them.
From the Dennisance, we go to the Dongasance. Let's check out the best home run highlights and pitching performances from our MLB The Show 20 simulations. Dongs of the Week takes us to Toronto, where Mitch Moreland knows the more runs, the better. He launched a 3-run missile into the second deck. The Braves double-dipped on grand slams in Arizona. Travis d'Arnaud tees off in the first inning to give the Braves a 4-0 lead. In the fourth inning, amateur astronomer Marcel Ozuna sends a probe to the nearest constellation. Clayton Kershaw is the pitching performer of the week. He nearly went the distance in Los Angeles, fanning 5 Giants in 8 2/3 innings, surrendering just 1 walk and 1 run on the afternoon. After 2 weeks of simulating a virtual season on MLB The Show, here's where we're at with the season standings. Our final segment spans from the original baseball video game release in 1978 to today's flagship franchise, The Show. In the spirit of Jim Morris, the oldest rookie, let's revisit the best rookie seasons for baseball video game franchises. When it comes to baseball video game franchises, it could take years to flash all-star potential. However, some franchises did make an impact in their rookie seasons and introduced innovative features that would be perfected in subsequent installments. Squint hard enough and you'll see something that resembles a baseball diamond. That's from the 1978 Atari 2600 game Home Run, the first time the sport received the video game treatment on a platform. The simplistic version of America's pastime had up to 3 fielders playing defense at a time, and they all moved in unison because of the single joystick. The first player to have his likeness tied to a video game was the Hall of Famer Earl Weaver, the one-time manager of the Baltimore Orioles and public enemy number 1 of umpires everywhere. 1987's Earl Weaver Baseball was a PC title from the Future Sports video game powerhouse Electronic Arts. It was the first time to allow a full season sim, a manager mode, and portray different stadiums on screen, including the first video game appearance of Fenway Park's Green Monster. But anyone who was going to fearlessly barrel headfirst into the video game market, it was going to be Pete Rose. A decade after its first baseball game, Atari did some damage at the plate when it called on the Hit King for 1988's Pete Rose Pennant Fever. The game was innovative for its behind-the-pitcher view and alternate fielding views. It also used an advanced digitized sound system and was the first game to offer a career mode, a milestone that helped pave the way for today's Sims. Sadly, no bookmaking mode was featured in the game.
And the odds finally caught up with Pete Rose, and Judgment Day arrived this morning.
The biggest story of the first half of the 1990s was the disconnect between Major League Baseball and the MLB Players Association, which culminated in the 1994 player strike and cancellation of the World Series for the first time in 90 years. The labor strike extended to virtual ball fields, until Sega Genesis released World Series Baseball in 1994. No baseball video game had been licensed by both the MLB and MLBPA, meaning games either used pro teams, including logos and stadiums, or used player likenesses, but never both in the same game. As the console wars began to heat up, so did the quest to land cover stars. In 1992, Cal Ripken, Roger Clemens, Nolan Ryan, and Tony La Russa all had rookie video game titles of their own. There was only one superstar able to cut through the clutter.
Hello, can I use your phone?
Beat it! Hit the road!
Hey, it's me, Ken Griffey Jr.
No, I'm Ken Griffey.
I'm Ken Griffey.
I'm Ken Griffey Jr.
I'm Ken Griffey Jr.
I'm Ken Griffey Jr.
I'm Ken Griffey.
Despite only having the MLB license, Super Nintendo's 1994 title, Ken Griffey Jr. Presents Major League Baseball, was a massive commercial success. Player statistics accurately represented the 1993 season, but Griffey was the only playable real-life star in the game. Later titles in the franchise were more polished and beloved. Give us the 3D graphics of Ken Griffey Jr. Slugfest on N64 any day. But the 1994 installment changed the game for good.
Before they were heroes, before they were champions, before they were the greatest slam dunking, touchdown scoring, grand slamming pros of all time, they were kids.
Backyard Baseball 1997 can easily stake its claim as the best rookie game for both PC gaming and children's titles. A love letter to the Diamond Heroes of the Schoolyard, Backyard featured colorful, cartoon 2D graphics with fictional players who had their own catchphrases and personality traits. The rookie games of the latter half of the 1990s paved the way for today's modern graphics, advanced game modes, and improved gameplay. Triple Play 1996 was EA Sports' forerunner to what would eventually be rebranded as the superior MVP Baseball franchise. In 1997, MLB 98, featuring Bernie Williams on the cover, was the start of Sony's yearly titles. The franchise would rebrand in 2006 with MLB 06 The Show.
I never made it to the show because they said I was an inconsistent hitter.
But the real rookie MVP of this era was MVP Baseball 2003. It's hard to overstate how much of elite baseball video games took when this game debuted. The introduction of the pitching meter, which was modeled after the swing functionality used in golf titles at the time, dictated the power and accuracy of the pitch. MVP 2003 also had huge graphic upgrades from EA's Triple Play days. The game's presentation, with the TV-style broadcast booth led by Dwayne Kuiper and Mike Krukow, and a killer soundtrack, helped put this game over the top. Baseball fans saw the fruits of EA's labor of love on MVP 2003 payoff when the final title in the franchise, MVP Baseball 2005, hit shelves. Many to this day consider it to be the best of the pre-next-gen console era. Sorry, Ken Griffey Jr., but I would take Pablo Sanchez in Backyard Baseball any day. Thanks for watching MLB The Show, the show. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and write nice things about me in the comments. We'll see you next time on the virtual playing field.
Like the sound of this video? All of our music was licensed from Soundstripe, a subscription-based royalty-free music library for filmmakers, podcasters, YouTubers, and more. Soundstripe. Keep creating.